Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a deep dive into a source that really tries to get to the heart of America's racial division.
And not just diagnose it, but actually offer a path forward.
Exactly. We're focusing on a powerful and I'd say pretty radical framework for healing that comes from civil rights leader Ruby Sales.
Yeah, her work is incredible.
So our mission today is really to distill the core argument from a transcript of her work.
Yeah.
It's a deeply personal story that she uses to explain this national problem.
And I think to really get the power of her solution, you have to start with that personal story.
You have to.
The trauma it's the crucible that forged this entire insight. Without it, the call for healing just doesn't have the same weight. So, okay, let's unpack this. We have to go back to 1965, Lowndes County, Alabama.
Right in the thick of the Southern Freedom Movement. And Ruby Sales, she's just 17 years old at the time, a student at Tuskegee.
Just a kid, really. And she's there with people like Jonathan Daniels. He was a bit older, 26.
And he was a white seminary student, right?
Yeah.
From up north.
Yeah, from Cambridge, Massachusetts. He was part of this whole generation of idealistic people, black and white, who were just ignited by the movement.
So they come to Lowndes County, and their goal is, well, it's incredibly audacious.
It is. They're there to protest the exploitation of black sharecroppers. But the bigger picture, they're trying to redeem the soul of America.
To find a way out of this 400-year grip of racism.
But that kind of idealism was met with just immediate raw hatred.
The source material is very vivid. It describes a mob of howling white men with shotguns, bats.
Yeah, just ready to kill them.
And the sheriff shows up, but he doesn't exactly protect them.
No. He arrests them. He claims it's for their own safety, but then he puts them on a garbage truck and hauls them off to this local jail.
The conditions sound horrific. Deliberately cruel, filth, intense heat.
And threatening them, saying they'd have to drink water from the toilets. It was pure dehumanization.
Then after 6 days of this, they're just let go. No warning.
And that's the scary part. That was a known signal.
A death sentence, almost.
Almost. It's exactly what happened to Goodman, Schreiner, and Cheney before they were murdered. An unannounced release meant you were being handed over to the mob.
Okay, so this is the moment. The one that changes everything for Ruby Sales.
This is it. So a small group of them, Sales, Daniels, another priest, and a girl named Joyce Bailey, they're just trying to get a drink.
And they walk up to a small store.
And in the doorway stands a white man, Tom Coleman.
Oh.
And he's holding a shotgun.
He looks right at Ruby Sales.
And he says, "Bitch, I'll blow your brains out."
Oh.
And before she can even really process it, Jonathan Daniels just lunges. He grabs her blouse, pulls her backwards so she falls down.
Out of the line of fire.
He puts himself directly in her place. He takes a blast from the shotgun. He dies, saving her life.
I just can't imagine seeing that. Seeing someone give their life for you in a moment of such pure hate.
It was so traumatic that she was paralyzed. She couldn't speak for 6 months.
Violent.
And when she finally did reflect on it, she talked about this immense contradiction.
Yeah.
That in one single moment, she saw the absolute best and the absolute worst of white America. Love and hate embodied in two different men.
And that right there, that's the foundation for everything that comes next in her work.
So that personal trauma, that silence, it eventually becomes this national question.
She realizes her wound isn't just hers, it's the country's wound. And 50 years later, she says we're all still, quote, mired down in the quicksand of racism.
Right. So she starts traveling, and she doesn't come pointing fingers. She comes with a question.
A very simple one.
Deceptively simple. She just asks people, tell me, where does it hurt?
And what she finds is that the hurt it's everywhere. But it's not the same for everyone. It's multi-layered.
Of course, you start with the most obvious wound, the hurt that black and brown people feel every day.
The vicious volley of racism, as she puts it. Having your rights stripped away, being constantly justified by these degrading myths and stereotypes.
That's the deep historical pain. But she connects it to other forms of pain, too.
Yeah, she talks about the hurt of women, speaking out against men who invade their bodies, and pointing out that it's often the same men who promote racism.
And who steal women's labor through unequal pay. It's all part of the same system of power.
But then she does something that I think really distinguishes her analysis. She talks about the hurt felt by white men.
Which can sound surprising, right? Given the power dynamics.
Very. Why focus on the pain of the group that's seen as holding all the power?
Because, she argues, they feel deeply betrayed. They were sold a bill of goods.
How so?
They were told by the powerful white elite that their skin color was, and I'm quoting here, a ticket to a good life and power.
A guarantee.
An absolute guarantee. But then they find out those tickets have expired. The circle of whiteness, as she calls it, is narrowing, and they're being left out.
So the system they thought was built to protect them is actually failing them.
Exactly. And that economic pain, that social pain, it gets redirected, it morphs into racial resentment against others.
So if we can identify all that pain in every community, then we can stop just, treating the symptom.
And start looking for the actual source of the disease.
Mm.
And for her, that source has a name. She calls it the culture of whiteness.
And this distinction is so important. She says it over and over again. The problem is not white people.
Right.
It's the culture of whiteness.
It's a critical shift because
Right.
when you frame it as a culture, you're moving from individual guilt and blame
To collective responsibility, to fixing a structure.
Exactly. And she defines it very clearly. She says it's a systemic and organized set of beliefs, values, canonized knowledge, and even religion.
And it all serves one purpose.
One single purpose: to maintain a power structure, a hierarchy based on skin color that works over and against, in her words, people of color.
Can we break down that phrase, canonized knowledge? What does it actually look like for someone listening?
Sure. I mean, it's the history we're all taught in school, right? The one that centers European achievement and kind of pushes everything else to the margins.
It's what's considered the main story.
The main story. It's in our legal system, our literature. It's all the things that reinforce the idea that the white perspective is the default, the neutral one.
The friendly insider.
The friendly insider, yeah. And by default, that casts people of color, especially black people, as
The dangerous outsider.
the dangerous outsiders, a constant threat to the system.
And the way she describes how this culture works is, it's really fascinating. She calls it a river that drowns out all of our identities.
A false uniformity.
Right. To keep that hierarchy in place, you have to flatten everyone out. You have to erase all the complex, intersecting parts of who we are.
Your class, your gender, your ethnicity, your sexuality, all of that has to be melted down into these simple, powerful labels.
Black, white.
Yeah, because that unity is maintained for power. If we saw each other in all our complexity, the simple hierarchy couldn't survive.
And her point is that because this is a social construct that's everywhere, we're all socialized into it. From birth. It even affects people of color, sometimes leading us to, as she says, vote against our interests.
It's a collective prison, really. So the solution has to be collective, too.
Okay, so if that's the diagnosis, this all-encompassing culture of whiteness, what's the cure?
Well, the cure has to be just as systemic. And she lays out this path to what she calls wholeness. It has a few steps.
What's the first one?
The first step is internal. It's about reconnecting with our authentic selves, our ethnic selves.
So moving beyond those big limiting labels, whiteness, blackness, brownness.
Exactly, to become our full, complex selves again.
And that leads into the second step, which is about storytelling.
Right, but not just individual stories. She's very clear on this. It can't become a trauma competition, pitting one person's story against another's.
So what's the alternative?
Collective narratives, where individual stories are vital, but they're woven together into a larger tapestry. And these tellings have to involve more than just words.
This is where she brings in the arts.
The arts, spiritual reflection, literature, and she even says, yes, even drumming.
Why drumming? Why is that so important?
I think it's because the culture she's describing is so rational, so intellectual. Art and rhythm and ritual, they bypass all that. They speak to our bodies, to our collective memory, in a way that logic can't.
To heal a collective wound, you have to engage the collective body.
Precisely. And all of this builds up to her third and, I think, most challenging idea.
Redemptive justice.
Redemptive justice. She insists that movements for racial justice must be redemptive, not punitive, that is a radical idea today.
It's completely radical because it means you have to offer the possibility of redemption to everyone.
Everyone, including the people who oppress you.
That feels almost impossible. How do you even do that when you're facing, as she puts it, vitriolic language, active hate?
She says you listen, not to excuse the hate, but to hear the pain underneath it.
You're trying to figure out, where do they hurt?
It's a kind of strategic empathy. If you can understand the fear or the betrayal that's fueling the hate, you have a chance to dismantle the system that created that hurt in the first place.
So freedom isn't just about breaking your own chains.
No. The ultimate justification is that your redemption is tied to theirs.
Wow.
We can't actually be free if we're still trapped by what she calls unredemptive anger. That's the anger that just keeps you locked in a relationship with your oppressor.
It's interesting that she brings modern technology into this framework.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it, but she sees that technology is often just a tool that speeds up the old values of racism.
Bullying, hate speech, segregation.
It just amplifies it. So her challenge is, can we design technology to do the opposite,
Mm-hmm.
to elevate us, to
Yeah.
give us larger vistas and connect us instead of dividing us?
So all of this, the history, the pain, the diagnosis, this radical call for redemption, it all comes down to one final question she leaves us with.
Hmm.
Do you want to be healed? Do you want to become whole and live into all of your identities?
At the end of the day, what really stands out from this deep dive is that paradigm shift she's demanding.
Right.
We have to stop focusing on blaming individual people and start focusing on dismantling the system, the culture itself.
And that the only way out is together, through a redemptive approach.
It's either collective or it's not going to happen.
And I think that final question she poses is the real challenge for anyone listening. Do you want to continue to cannibalize your multiple identities and privilege one identity over the other?
Yes.
Because that's what these rigid boxes, whiteness, blackness, brownness, force you to do. You have to cut off parts of yourself to fit your ethnicity, your class, your gender.
It's a call to be authentic,
Mhm.
to ask yourself, what are you sacrificing right now, today, just to maintain the status quo?
And that question, what parts of your true self are you giving up to fit into this painful system? That is definitely a question worth exploring long after this deep dive ends. Thank you for joining us.